I used to spend entire weekends studying, full days, phone off, door closed, and I'd walk into Monday's exam and forget everything the moment I read question 1. Meanwhile, there was this one guy in my class. I never saw him study, not once. He'd show up Monday morning eating a sandwich and walk out with the highest score in the room. I thought he was just smarter than me. He wasn't. He was just studying differently. And the second I understood what he was actually doing, everything changed. These are 6 techniques backed by actual neuroscience that make your brain absorb and lock in information in a fraction of the time it normally takes. And the last one? That's the one nobody ever talks about. It's the reason some students seem to learn on cheat mode, and it has nothing to do with intelligence. Tip 1. Stop giving your brain too much time. Your brain has a dirty secret. It uses exactly as much time as you give it, and not a second less. This is called Parkinson's law. And it's why a task you could finish in 30 minutes somehow takes 3 hours. The fix sounds almost stupid. Instead of saying, I need to study today, say, I'm going to cover the French Revolution in the next 25 minutes. Specific topic. Hard deadline. Suddenly, your brain treats it like a race instead of a chore. Tight time limits don't make you study less. They make your brain stop wasting time pretending to study. Tip 2. Stop rereading. Rereading your notes feels productive. That's the trap. When something looks familiar, your brain tells you, got it. But familiarity is not memory. And every exam you've ever taken tests recall, not whether the page looked familiar. Here's what actually works. Close the book. Blank page. Write down everything you remember. Then look. The things you couldn't recall? That's your actual study list. This is called active recall, and research consistently shows it doubles retention speed compared to rereading, because the act of struggling to remember is what builds the memory. The difficulty is the point. Tip 3. Only study the 20% that matters. Here's something your teacher will never say out loud. Most of what's in your textbook won't be on the exam. The 80-20 rule says 20% of what you study produces 80% of your results, which means the other 80% of your study time barely moves the needle. Top students find that 20% first. Before they open a single textbook, they go through past exam papers and ask, what actually comes up? They find the patterns, the topics that show up every year, the question styles that repeat. Then they spend most of their time there, and almost none on the rest. That's not laziness. That's strategy. You're not studying less. You're aiming better. Tip 4. Teach it to nobody. Pick any topic you think you understand. Now explain it out loud. No notes, like you're talking to a 10-year-old who will ask, but why? After every sentence. The moment you hesitate, the moment you reach for a technical word because you can't explain it simply, that's not a gap in your explanation. That's a gap in your understanding. And now you know exactly where to go back and study. This is the Feynman technique. Richard Feynman was a Nobel Prize-winning physicist who believed that if you couldn't explain something simply, you didn't actually know it. He was right. You don't need a study partner to use this. Talk to your wall. Explain it to your dog. Record yourself on your phone. The discomfort you feel when you get stuck, that's your brain building something real. Tip 5. Study in sprints, not marathons. Long study sessions don't just feel bad. They actually reduce how much you absorb. Your brain's ability to consolidate new information drops sharply after 30 to 45 minutes of sustained focus. After that, you're not studying. You're sitting near your notes. The fix? Set a timer for 30 minutes. Study with everything you have. Phone face down, one tab open, single task. When the timer ends, take 5 minutes and actually move. Walk around, look outside, then go again. 4 of those cycles is 2 hours, but 2 hours of genuine, high-intensity focus that will outperform 6 hours of drifting in and out of distraction. Tip 6, the one nobody mentions, sleep, is a study technique. Your brain does not store information while you're studying. It stores it while you sleep, specifically during the deep sleep stages that happen in hours 6 through 8 of the night. That is when your brain takes everything you learned and moves it from short-term memory into long-term storage. Which means when you pull an all-nighter before an exam, you haven't studied hard. You've actively prevented the consolidation from happening. You show up holding information in temporary cache, and the second exam pressure hits, it evaporates. 7 to 8 hours of sleep isn't a reward for studying well. It's part of studying. It's the step where your brain actually finishes the job. At a 10-minute walk in the morning, exercise releases a protein called BDNF that helps your brain form new connections, and you have the most powerful, completely free study upgrade that exists, and almost no one uses it. So here's all 6, one line each. Give yourself less time than you think you need. Test yourself instead of rereading. Find the 20% that actually appears on the exam. Teach it out loud until you hit a gap. Study in 30-minute sprints. And sleep, because that's when your brain actually locks it all in. You're not a slow learner. You were just never taught how to learn fast. Now you have been. If this helped, share it with whoever you know who's about to pull an all-nighter.